The BTC halving is over, and the next one will come only after 4 years. So what happened with the price of BTC this time around and last time? We actually want to know how it reflected on the price of XRP this time and the last time, along with some other technical levels which actually give us some important information about what is happening, including the gap in the shorter time frame. Now, listening to this video is kind of having some insights of takeaways. So we'll actually listen to that first and then move on.
Still with us. So what's your take on the event? It certainly seemed a little bit like a sell the news kind of event, at least initially.
Yeah, a little bit. I think there was a lot of hype going into the halving, right? We've come off from 4,500, so huge rally, a lot of retail participation. There's a great macro backdrop. We've talked about it ad infinitum of why crypto right now, and Bitcoin specifically, makes so much sense. And then you had the news that Paul Jones had bought it and then bought it for his fund, which is, I think, really, really significant. And so you had a little bit of a retail frenzy. That got sold off. I would expect the market to hold here at 8,000, 8,500 and to start trading right back up. We're seeing at our shop just a huge increase in interest in Bitcoin and getting into crypto from high net worth individuals, from funds. Crypto's not easy to buy. It takes a while to get set to buy it. If it was easy to buy, it would be much higher. And so it doesn't happen overnight, but it feels like a herd is on its way, finally.
If you are receiving value out of the content, do hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell notification icon to get updated about the future videos. So the points highlighted here are sell the news, a lot of hype, and finally, the herd is here, or at least they are coming. Now, what does Ashish Birla from Ripple think about this BTC halving? He actually states ice cream company stock doesn't surge in anticipation of summer. So that may be kind of a joke, we don't know. But when BTC is kind of going through the halving news and all, Ripple is building momentum, and it is actually increasing the network effect to make it much more stronger punch when it actually finally delivers. And as we discussed yesterday, the central banks and monetary authorities are actually highlighting the asset XRP in the DLT form. So DLT based solution, now it has actually rebranded to ODL, but the method uses crypto asset XRP. So it's actually clear that they are actually looking into the use of digital asset, and I'm kind of loaded up fully on XRP. What about you guys? Welcome to the Scientific Investor channel, where we discuss crypto and science behind investing regularly. Now, we have a lot of good news to go through based on XRP. Now, this one came on May 11th, and this is something clearly good. The talk is actually between credit unions with IBM's Canada for payments. Now, previously we have actually talked through what Canadian banks, central banks are actually looking through for their DLT based payment system and how they are actually going to look at the revolution of payments. If you actually read through that, it reads, together the credit union central of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba collectively represent more than 75 credit unions across the three Prairie province. Now, did I pronounce that correctly? Prairie, I think so. Anyway, onboarding of credit unions is expected to begin in the fall of 2020. So that is kind of important, because previously we also shared the news here that Ripple is actually going through the partnership with the credit unions across the globe and delivering the payment system, the final settlement event, which is using, whenever you hear settlement and Ripple network, always think that is using the digital asset XRP. Now, how is this dramatic shift coming in? The credit unions will actually leverage the platform to drive innovative products and service as digital payments increasingly dominate over cash. So they are actually looking clearly towards this. They were actually monitoring the trend from early 2 or 3 years before, and they were really into it from last year. And now they're actually looking to go in by fall of this year, that's 2020. So the shift is actually here. Are you actually ready for that? This is another one which is adding on to this. So this is shown by the cryptic point, and he's actually showing you that the smart contracts event of XRP, the Codius and other side is actually getting attention. Over the next quarter, we will set out our plans to trustlessly integrate XRP in Flare. So when we see these integrations and partnerships like the cryptic poet is highlighting here, the same from Stephen Dape actually showed based on the monetary authorities. So we actually discussed about the monetary authorities side and the central banks. Now the corporates and enterprises are also leveraging the asset. This one actually came out on today itself, so that's May 12th. And when you actually go through this, there is mixed kind of information. If you don't digest it well, process it well, that may feel negative to the entire XRP community, but it is not, because when you actually go through this, you actually get a lot of positive information, which is the truth. Now that depends on how you process it, but okay, let's go through it. The first one is saying the pressure of this crisis, the demand of this crisis, the urgency of the policy response has really demonstrated limitations in the existing system. We were always talking about a new financial system coming in. Now they're actually talking about how the new digital dollar will be coming in, the digital currency, how it will actually make, how it will be tested, how it will actually come. Now this is the part which I'm saying which I think maybe can be represented badly or negatively. It can be diverted in anyways. Personally, they are actually talking that digital dollar won't run on XRP. I think the quote itself is incorrect. It can be like digital dollar won't be running on XRP ledger, because XRP is an asset and digital dollar is also another asset. So I don't think an asset is running over another asset. Instead, it will be on the network. So what they are trying to highlight here is the private sector innovations such as XRP or Stellar. So they're actually looking at the assets. They're not actually looking at that kind of collaborations from the get-go. They are kind of taking it out. But what you have to understand is still he accepts that inevitably, much like the National Space Program or the internet, commercial actors will be heavily involved. But that choice will ultimately be determined on the policy level. So the regulations and policies which are already being set out will actually show what is gonna happen. And here he admits that the commercial actors will be heavily involved in this. Now say digital dollar is being established in a different network, say Ethereum network or some other. Now they are actually working on interoperability ledger. That is ILP protocol. So once the interoperability is completed, it doesn't matter which network your central bank digital currency is made, because say for example US is making a central bank digital currency on Ethereum network, Canada is making on another network. Still they have to actually interoperable. It should be interoperable so that they can transfer the value from one to another, and for that you need this. Now it's not only between the central banks, they have to actually talk or communicate between banks within the country, right? It's not sure that say for example the Fed is going into a Ethereum network, not all the banks will actually join the same network, right? So there should be an interoperability layer for that. When I actually saw this from Nick, I was like, wow, that is quite a movement. It's actually showing you the action of on-demand liquidity or ODL in which the XRP is pumping. So as we are moving ahead, this is the reality. Ripple and XRP is getting a lot of adoption. So the way they coined this is Ripple and XRP enterprise adoption is surging, boosting trading volume. Now, I completely agree with that part. And when, the individuals directly state like companies are using the asset, when they say asset or settlement, it's about XRP. Don't get confused. Okay, so companies are using the asset to make more effective cross-border payments. This use case is a real differentiator to other digital assets. So keep that in mind. If one company or an organization is stating that, then obviously those who are using this will actually come out and state the same. Now another quite cool or good or positive update from Middle East. This is actually showing Kuwait Bank kickstarts a RippleNet powered direct money transfer to Turkey. Now this one is on May 11th, that's yesterday, and it came like not a surprise. We all waiting for new products to be laid out in Middle East, because they are kind of a bit more fast in this aspect of blockchain and DLT considering the Western countries, because there's a lot of adoption going through in that area. So when we actually go through the entire news, it is actually quite impressive. The statement here is immediate external transfer service via RippleNet will make the process instant, reliable, and cost effective. Now, instant and reliable is necessary, but cost effective is the main thing. The banking firm said it will soon announce the actual operation of the service to ensure the technology in foolproof and efficient. So it's actually coming as a 24/7 item. Usually in Middle East, if you are a bank, you won't be operating on say Thursday Eve or a Friday, and mostly some even get off on Saturdays. So if that is a 24/7 network, that is going to be a DLT. Now the next thing is, after some pilots, they're coming out and announcing that customers could now use its zero fee remittance. Think they are going all in on this. They're providing zero fee remittance. Everything is kind of adding on to one another for the central bank system. And when we say the central bank and monetary authorities, we already know that we are working with more than 40 central banks and monetary authorities around the world. Now at the same stage, the lack of a concrete business case for CBDC at present should not stop them from exploring this event. So even if they say it's not being used right now, doesn't actually delay that, meaning everyone is actually pointing the gun towards that side and they are ready to shoot. Now in the technical side of XRP, this is a 60-minute XRP chart, and as we can see, we had a bit of gap to the downside. So the price was around 0.195 and we came back below and opened around 193. Yeah, even though it's a small gap, it's still a gap. Now that has to be eyed, so hopefully we are gonna close that gap immediately without much of a delay. And as we move on, we also need to consider how the price is fluctuating with different levels. Now this particular level was previously the resistance, as we can see, the trend line resistance. Now it is kind of acting as a support, but what we have to consider is this a bearish pennant? If it is kind of making a bearish flag or bearish pennant, we can expect that the price may come back in this trading range. Now that is on a 4-hour chart, but we zoom out and look that on a daily chart. This is what we can see. Say we made considering the entire cycle, we made a higher high here, higher low here, and a higher high. Then that was around 0.15. Then we again moved up around 0.18, made a low around 0.165. Then from there we moved up around 0.198, then came back down around 0.18, then went up around 0.24. Now we reached back around 0.19. So if we are considering all these points of lows and highs, this kind of gives us a higher low event, which is not that bearish as of now. So unless we break below and change this movement, we are still on a bullish path. If you are receiving value out of the content, do hit the like button, subscribe button, and the bell notification icon to get updated about the future videos.